Okay, next item on the agenda is the Public Works CEC lease/purchase. Basically, whether we use the state bids or we go up for free bids in this particular item. Is that correct, Pete?
I've gone before the Public Works Commission twice. I've gone before the Board of Selectmen twice. I presented this 4 times. Basically, I think what we're coming to you as, I don't know what you're going to do tonight with it, but somebody suggested that we trade it in or not trade it in. I said we'd sell it, not sell it, trade it in. It doesn't really make any difference to us. We offered to the Board of Selectmen to go out to bid on it. They've looked at the information, the Public Works Commission's looked at the information, and they've both moved to go forward with the state purchase. As far as the trading goes, it's a $7,500 trade-in. If we sell it outright, we have to at least realize almost $8,800 because it costs you over 10 years to borrow that $7,500. You would have to then use cash on, plus the cost of the advertising going out is significant. So I don't care if we trade it in or if we sell it outright. It doesn't make any difference to us. What we tried to do was, because it's a vehicle that's no longer produced, hasn't been in production for years. It's a Sterling, they no longer make them. We've had trouble getting parts for it. That we talked to a couple of members on the commission who are very familiar with trucks. One happened to disagree, but he didn't attend any of the meetings. The 2 people that did attend the meetings, Carl and Mary B. are very familiar with equipment, and it was their recommendation to go with the trade. However, having said that, if you want us to run the risk of selling it outright, I don't have any issues doing that. There's nothing, doesn't make any difference to us. But it was a suggestion. And there's another truck that's going to go along at the same time. So we're going to get the 2 trucks, and then we're not going to replace the 2nd truck, ever. We're just going to cut the fleet down by that 1 truck. So that's where we are now. We've presented the lease purchase program to 2 commission meetings, 2 Board of Selectmen meetings. We've asked to tag on a heavy equipment trailer because we have to purchase that next year regardless. And we gave the information on that as well, and that's also under the state purchasing program. So I come before you. You can tell me what you want me to do.
Okay, point of order.
Can I ask
What?
a question? Pete explained to me the state bid procedures on strikes, and it's administered by the Department of Administrative Services.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the question before us is what's been referred to us from the Board of Selectmen.
Correct.
So therefore, we either agree or disagree.
Correct.
I've watched your testimony, your explanation before the Selectmen. I agree with you in your spoken word. I agree with you in your written word. And if I could try to say exactly what you said you and your staff were uncomfortable going forward under the system and that's why you were not asking to be placed on the agenda.
Correct.
The merits of this, one way or the other, we can debate when there's a motion. But my concern is that, as in anything, when someone tells me that works at the head of the department and the staff that's there, that they believe that there's at least the appearance of a problem, I am troubled by that. So I would vote, there's no motion, but if there's motion on the table, I would vote no. And to understand that there's the appearance, and probably maybe go back, because there's another issue that's going to come up here too. That, you know, again, there's appearance issues that no one is accusing anyone of any wrongdoings or anything like that, but within the town to have confidence that, and it may cost us, it may cost us more money. We may not get certain things. One thing I will say that you discussed, which I'm confused about. I believe anytime you put something out to bid, you have specifications.
We didn't put it out to bid.
No, but I'm saying if you do. So if you want an aluminum body, you specify.
Right.
If somebody can't bid on that, they're not eligible bid. So I think you can craft,
Okay.
you can craft.
Well, then we'll be accused of writing a bid in order to go to one manufacturer.
Well,
The problem we have, it's a twofold problem, and I agree with what you're saying. I stopped the process because there were some things written all over the place, including that apparently I have a truck in my backyard, that aren't true. So I personally talked to the first selectman, and I went to the Board of Selectmen and said, listen, I went back to the Public Works Commission, and I said to you tonight, if you want to stop it tonight, I'm fine with that. We're fine with that. And you want us to do something different, we're fine with that. But there's a lot of things that have been said out in the public that just are not patently untrue, but I felt uncomfortable going forward, but the Board of Selectmen listened to all the information. The Public Works Commission, after there was an issue, listened to all the information. You know, and that's all I can do. I give everybody the information and they decide what they want to do. But we have no issues if you want to stop and retool. But if I write these specifications for an aluminum cab, for primarily, it gets us down to one manufacturer, which is the guy you're looking at or we're looking at now. So, I don't know how you write the spec to do that, because then it's not really a bid at that point. So you got to write a general spec and do what we did, which is we took the chassis spec, we took the options that were available, we gave them to another manufacturer who gave us a list of what they could do and couldn't do, and the things that he couldn't do had to do with the aluminum and the wiring. So that's all we'll wind up doing again, which I'm fine doing. We'll just do it with more manufacturers. I'm good with that.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask?
Go ahead, Kurt.
This is, have you been doing it with the state, this state process, is that federal?
It's been past practice.
Okay.
Not on everything.
So now I guess, I'm not quite, explain to me how that satisfies the charter that calls for a bidding process. Do you think the state process satisfies that? Is that what you're saying?
That's what they said.
Who says? The state says that?
Yeah, that's what
If
the,
we ever did an audit, Kurt, state, if you follow state bid process, that passes.
So that is acceptable.
it's acceptable.
We get the grant, we get audited, if we've gone through the steps of using a state bidder, that's acceptable. That passes the audit standards.
When you do a state-funded project, you can only use state contractors that have gone through the Department of Administrative Services project. So we're not even allowed to go outside that if you're doing grant work or you're, like DTC had to be part of DOS, the bidders on the Peters grant have to be all part of DOS. So what it is the state puts out a bunch of stuff, anybody's allowed to submit. There could be 4 people that put out chassis that are part of the state bid. There's the police cruisers come through the DOS state bid program for the most part. So we buy our asphalt through the state bid process, which is the DOS process, because you can't buy it for any less than that. There are some things that I will grant that we have not. We've used them in the past, but it turned out to be problematic, so we stopped using them. But our experience with heavy equipment has been that it's been a very reliable, consistent price for what you're getting for. But, I go back to, somebody said, well, I can get a $5,000 difference, but if it's not what we want, it doesn't meet the spec that we need to protect the town and do the job we want it to do, then you wouldn't buy it anyway.
So what is the Board of Finance tonight supposed to be doing? Are we looking at a motion?
Well, you
Perhaps
have,
looking at a discussion?
either way, you have in your budget, I believe Janet can speak on that, you've already set the funding aside for it.
Yeah.
The question is, do you want to move forward, or do you want us to do something, Board of Selectmen send it to you one way? I don't know where to go with it, to be honest with you.
Board of Selectmen have approved state bids.
A lot of things have been written
Legitimate process.
that aren't true. So I don't know what's out here, to be honest with you.
My only comment is I have absolute confidence in Pete's ability to know what equipment is good equipment for his jobs. My concern is that all bidding processes are open and transparent to the entire town. That there's a comfort with the bidding process. And it seems to me that this got a little foggy somewhere along the line. I don't know how,
But this isn't a
that's
bidding
fine. That's
process.
the only thing I have to say.
But your answer, it's not a bidding process that the town went through, it's a bidding process the state goes through. Which is very open and very fair, And everybody can go to it. If you're a contractor, you can be part of it. So the state performs that bidding for you, and the municipalities are allowed to tag on to it.
In regards to this specific truck,
Yes,
most towns belong to state bids.
a lot of towns buy off the state.
And a lot of the dealers do, correct? But,
I want to ask a question, and I don't think that I understand the answer. I understand that when you're doing things with the state, that the auditors will look at that bidding process, and that's adequate. The question is the charter. Does the charter, and that's an
It says
opinion.
state bid on it.
Does the charter say state bid?
Purchasing policy you
Purchasing
passed
policy.
last month, that month, says
It's been
you're
here for
allowed to
years,
use
we've
the
been
state
doing
bid. It's
So it's in the charter. Okay, then.
It's been an accepted method.
Well,
It's not in the charter. I don't.
I'm not sure about the charter, I'm saying it's in the purchasing policy that you guys.
This does mention.
Well, that's-
It's in the purchasing policy.
you see, that's the question here. A question was asked. And if it's, anybody could have an opinion on something.
Right.
Now, I'll come back to what my concern is, and again, I asked the question of, we have a question before us that a motion will be made. My concern is what I said all along, is I have a document here, I'll tell you what, I understand what you said, and I cannot discount very lightly what you're saying, because although I have great faith in everything else, you're telling me that at this point, you have an appearance issue, not, that you feel uncomfortable and your people feel uncomfortable with. That tells me that, on this case, we should go back, go out and put it out to bid, especially, the trade-in piece, and make sure that, we don't have anybody, because I'll tell you what, we're entering into an area at a time where it's gonna get hot. And for that reason, there's no motion on the floor, but when the time comes, I can
The issue is
speak
with,
to it.
a member of the Public Works Commission who happens to sell used equipment, who did not attend any of the meetings where this was discussed, who proffered that he could do better, and we went out, it sounded like we ignored him. We went out and got his information. And we talked to the dealer that he recommended, we did a side-by-side comparison. And I said to him, that individual, I emailed him several times and said we were going to another meeting. I had asked for another meeting with the Public Works Commission. And he said some inappropriate things in some emails, and then he quit. He never showed up at the second meeting. So that is the only person who has said anything, either in an email or verbally to me. I think some other people questioned some other stuff, but they were silly. So our attempt was to go to the Board of Selectmen and the Board and the Public Works Commission and explain what went on and give them all the information. So, but again, I'm wherever you guys.
okay, so it's just perception, basically.
Well, it was a perception that somebody came up with that wasn't accurate, but
So we either need a motion.
they claimed we were
Go ahead.
doing stuff.
Also my read of the, because I was at the Board of Selectmen meeting, was I didn't hear a downside for going out. I mean, I guess it was going to be
No,
late.
there is none.
There's no downside to putting it out.
Originally we were trying to get it in to get rid of the equipment that we had before winter,
Right.
because we have to do a lot of work on the equipment to keep it running during winter. And, we gotta do DOT checks, and it gets really expensive to do that on a piece of equipment. But we're delayed to the point now where you're gonna have to go do that stuff anyway.
So there's.
Plus you lose more on the trade, and, no, but there's no real downside.
Okay, sir.
What is the statement made that we are requesting that you rescind your approval granted on July 19th?
I was under the impression they had motioned and sent us to go ahead to the Board of Finance to buy the truck. I was clarified later at the meeting that the Board of Selectmen had not done that.
Oh, okay. So this doesn't stand yet.
Yeah, well, they did the last meeting, they did motion us to go forward to the Board of Finance. It was the July 19th meeting, my fault, I didn't even read the
So you're
minutes.
not looking to rescind anything?
No, we did that, I was looking to rescind the July 19th
Yeah.
and reapproach on August.
Okay, now what is the specific piece of equipment we're talking about right now?
The piece of equipment you're talking about is called a hook lift truck.
A what?
And hook lift, and briefly, you know me, I'm not a one truck use person. So what it is, it comes with dumpsters, it comes with a comes with a sander, it comes with a plow, it comes with a flatbed. So you can interchange any of those. So in the winter, you can hook and lift the sander on, and use it as a plow and a sand truck. When you're done with the winter, you drop the sander off. You can put a dumpster on it, you can put a flatbed on it. There's a number of different things you can buy, but right now, we're looking at 2 dumpsters, a flatbed, and a sander, and a plow. But you can buy a water truck, garbage truck.
funds,
Pardon?
You have under release for the truck.
it's all appropriate.
Along with the,
So now the only question is whether we go out to bid.
correct.
Okay, so
Right.
that's the motion we have to make.
That's,
So we have a motion, we either need to accept the current policy of using the state bids
Or not.
through DAS or going out for free bids.
I have one more question on top of that.
So go ahead, that's it.
The other issue we brought before you was, as part of this lease purchase, was the heavy-duty equipment trailer, which is in next year's CEC, but we found ourselves in a position of having to replace we don't have one heavy enough for the type of equipment we're carrying at this point, so we have to be a little careful. But it's in next year's CEC, we just figured if you want to go out and get it all, and it's a state, but that's also a state purchase, you know. So the 12-ton was, I think, 15 or 16,000, and 20-ton was 18,000. We did bring that before the Public Works Commission, we brought it before the Board of Selectmen, and they agreed to move forward with it, but again, it's up to you guys at this point.
What is the downside of doing the bidding process? What is the upside of not? I mean, is there a set?
I don't think there's to be honest with you, there's no downside to going out to bid, because the only thing is you'll get less money for the truck in the spring, and less money on the sale. You know,
Well, is the truck operable, so could you sell it now? Or are you still?
no, you could sell it now if you want to
Yeah,
sell it.
and then it's still goes.
It's actually got more value now, because it has a plow and an all-season sander bed on it, and in the spring it'll have a lot less value.
And for your department, is there a difference, is there a convenience difference between the two methods? Between state and out to bid?
State bid is actually the vendor that we've selected is the one who sold us the 10-wheel truck, which has been a very good truck. You know, the service has been good, the actual piece of equipment has been very good. We've had no problems with it in theory at all. And when they've had to do recalls on it, they come pick it up and bring it back. But I think as I've been told, any dealer will do that, which is fine. But it is a Freightliner chassis, of which we have 5 of them currently, heavy-duty chassis, which have been very good. Those are actually 4 of them are approaching their mid-21, 22 years of
Let me
age.
ask you this question, if we say go out to bid,
Yep.
since the auditors will accept it, doesn't that include the state?
Yes, but we did this once, you know, we didn't get the state bid price, we got a higher price. So then you're back to the state bid price. So I'm just gonna warn you
Yeah.
that happened it was like a $20,000 difference. Because the state bid is really something they proffer on the guarantee that so many people are gonna order the vehicle. So I don't know if they'll give you the state bid or if they'll go lower, but our last experience was they went higher, and that was on the sweeper.
Okay.
So I think but then you can revert back to the state bid if you want. Right, then how do you do that if you have a low bidder?
Well, I don't know, you're the guy.
Well, you don't have to take low bid, because it doesn't meet the spec, but if you write the spec so narrow that nobody else can bid on it, then you might as well go to state bid. So, we'll write a general spec, but the low bidder may not be all spec.
Before we go to motion, I'll have to Bruce.
I think there's another important factor to consider. When you go through the state bidding process, you're more likely to get somebody bidding on a truck that meets the specs that you actually need. That also speaks to the length of time for which we want to keep the vehicle. On average, Pete, stop me if I'm wrong, you may have a scenario where ideally you'd like to keep up the truck, the proper maintenance, so it can last 10, 11, 12, 13 years.
We're in our 20s with 4 of our
Well,
vehicles.
that's because you're really taking care of it. But the point is, going through the state bid process, you're more likely to get what you put out there in the specs versus a vehicle that doesn't meet the specs It could be the engine, it could be the transmission, it could be the wiring. You know, just because something is cheaper through a regular bidding process doesn't mean you're going to get better value. People have been very successful for towns going through the state process. You're more likely to get what you need, what you want, and experience through the Department of Public Works departments shows us that they know how long stuff lasts if they maintain and repair them properly.
Thank you.
So that's the only thing I want to say.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay, it's time for motion.
I make a motion that we put it out to bid. Second.
Any seconds? Okay, discussion?
Discussion on the DAS list, just so we know too, the state list. There's many qualified bidders that don't appear on that list in a lot of different areas. So, you know, there's benefits from reaching that group, and then there's disadvantages because there's people that are not on that list that are very qualified. The other issue that I heard of warranty work, let's say it's somebody from Massachusetts. Warranty work is warranty work. I mean, you know, the maintenance is the maintenance, and hopefully we don't get into the area where we need warranty work, but if you did, it's part of what you do with warranty work. And we never know, next year, all of a sudden you buy something from somebody, and guess what? They could end up being in Massachusetts too, the way things are going these days. You never know who's going to be still housed in the state of Connecticut. They could move. So with that, I mean, I believe that based on looking at what's in front of me and hearing what I heard at the Board of Selectmen meeting, that at least on this vehicle, based on that we're not going to be holding anything up or anything like that, if we're, you know, because we don't know if we'll get a lower bid or not. Generally speaking with the state is they buy in volumes, and if we're the only ones looking for this truck, we're really not going to get any benefit of the state purchasing block either. So with that, you know, that's why I made the motion.
This motion doesn't cover just one vehicle.
Yes, it does.
It covers
No.
a series of vehicles because we're approving a process.
No, we're not. We're acting on we're working on one truck right now.
I think,
I don't think
No, that's not the
what I
motion.
heard.
The motion was to put this bid out to bid out.
One particular.
Oh, outside the state, not using the state.
Right. But you
On
don't,
one truck.
on this truck.
One truck.
That means he's gonna come back to us on all the other vehicles he just mentioned.
Well, he has to come back to us on any of these ends. I mean,
No, not on the process. If we approve a process, we approve a process.
Well, we're being asked to make a decision.
you got these approvals from CEC.
Yes.
Yes.
So the CEC, not the actual vehicle.
Why are we voting?
I'm unsure. I think we just want to clear the air for
Okay.
the taxpayers.
The motion is, for this one particular freight liner, we go out to bid, we're still going to use the state bid process on any other vehicles down the road.
That's not the motion. Why don't we just deal with the motion that I made?
This truck.
I made the motion on this truck. We
Okay.
don't have to explain about what happens next week, next year,
So it's
next
not
month.
procedure, it's just one.
I made a motion,
truck.
so,
Okay,
and I think I'm kind of addressing
okay, all in
someone who's
favor?
in here. Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
I'm opposed as well.
So it's 4-2.
Thank you.
Okay.